This week's episode was brought to you by Agradon, Terry, and Q Quigley. Thank you, Agradon, Terry, and Q Quigley. It's with the generous support of listeners like yourself that our intrepid bunch of rabbit researchers continues to go so far off script that the disembodied director of human affairs who rules over this dimension keeps attempting to locate where the show is being broadcast from so he can direct his reptilian slaves in the political class to shut us down forever and force us to labor without pay in the black magic origami factory 20 meters below the Earth's surface. If you'd like to help us stay out of the black magic origami factory or just hear the second half of this episode, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your generous donation of just $5 will not only get you the extended, uncensored second half of this episode, oh no, you'll get access to every single one of our extended, uncensored episodes, more than doubling the amount of occult content for you to binge. But that's not all. I'll even send you a 5x5 high-quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art at no additional cost. And if that were not enough, you'll instantaneously be given the keys to our Discord server where we discuss what we're doing with all the grapes. Curious about what your spirit guides are trying to tell you? If you're interested in getting a tarot reading from yours truly, our $20 a month tier is probably the best deal on the internet. Every month you're subscribed, I owe you another tarot reading, which you can redeem at your convenience, even if you're not subscribed anymore. It's also kind of fun. In this week's episode, we break out the military-grade thesaurus and disembark down the long, winding road back to the shadowy origins from which some of our most common turns of phrase originate, illuminating their esoteric origins and what exactly they meant in the first place. On the free side of the show, we pull back the curtain to explore exactly how many of these phrases we use in everyday life have a secret origin in the Fraternal Order of the Freemasons. There's actually quite a bit. In the extended side of the show, we explore the multitude of common phrases that go back to the Bible and a few others that are so ancient we don't even know it all. Thank you, and enjoy the show. You know, in case you hadn't heard, I'm getting married to Hecka next month.
Yeah.
Woo!
My last partner broke up with me because of my lack of vocabulary. What is that even supposed to mean?
What?
It means that you don't know a lot of words.
I tried to get her back by writing a production based on my vocabulary. It was actually a play on words.
Eh.
They said it failed because of the poor vocabulary. I didn't know what to say. They could tell my feelings were hurt, so they gave me an award for how bad my vocabulary was. I was speechless.
These are really bad.
Wow.
Where do crackheads get their vocabulary?
Where?
In a dictionary.
Hold on. I'm thinking about that.
A dictionary.
Oh.
An addictionary. Get it?
Derp.
What?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just spend our days splitting metaphysical hairs about the difference between the spirit and the soul, because we all know that drinking Baileys from an old boot is actually a metaphor for both. Nay, we also sometimes jump down a series of lexicological rabbit holes so twisted it would make D. Snyder's curly fries straight again. Let the cat out of the bag and screw the pooch at the same time, because this week we're discussing the occult origin of common phrases. I'm your host, Luke Madrid, also known as Hack Rabbit. I'm joined this week by the Russian spaniel riding shotgun, Mari Sama.
Woo!
The apple of my eye, Hecka Astra.
Hello.
And the apple of my epididymis, creator of the Cryptic Chronicles podcast, the Hell Beast, Mr. Tim Hacker.
What's an epidemis?
Epididymis.
Yeah, what is that?
Didymis means twins.
It's wrapped around your nuts. You know, I've been wanting to do this episode for years.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was able to track down, in fact, the phrases that got me so wound up in the first place, because there's actually a number of them that go straight back to the occult tradition.
I bet there's going to be some that we know and some that we don't know.
So I tried to focus on ones we had probably heard in our day-to-day lives, but ones that you might not be able to just figure out by thinking them out. Because a lot of figures of speech, you can kind of figure it out, but it's bonus points for this episode if you can't just reason them out. And then extra bonus points if you can trace the origin to something religious or occult or ooky spooky.
Yeah, I was surprised in my research. I didn't get some of the sayings to research that were occult in particular, but a great deal of these sayings do date back to the Bible or even before biblical times, which I thought was really interesting.
It's actually kind of dumbfounding. So whether we're seeking wisdom for fun or profit, each tradition, whether it be traditional, psychedelic, or even just rigorously scientific, we're warned that to get the direct experience of the world and the facts about it, we must move beyond the limitations of the words we normally use to describe it. Humans, after all, seem to have a nearly comical proclivity for confusing the roadmap for the territory. We do tend to think in symbols. And if bleaching one's mind with meditation, psychoactive compounds, or intense focus on abstract mathematical information seems untenable at every hour of the day, the best we can do in the meantime is learn about the truly bizarre origin of these phrases. Ones that we use so commonly as to have entirely forgotten that we are using them at all. Besides, if magic works by using spells, having greater potency when going unnoticed, then this knowledge truly is power. It also might just be useful to know about when you run out of things to say during dinner conversation.
Fun facts are always fun.
So, to get us started, you probably had not considered how many common phrases are still in use today, which can be traced directly back to the shadowy occult organization that cooks pancakes for the needy, raises money for after-school programs, and secretly runs the entire world, i.e. the Fraternal Order of Freemasons.
Dun dun dun.
So you're saying there are a lot of phrases that originate in the Masonic tradition.
It's kind of dumbfounding. Yeah, there's a lot. It's like, how much World War II is there in Looney Tunes? Like, quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
It's like that with our figures of speech. Can you think of any without looking at the notes?
Fair and square.
I mean, I was thinking if there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Is that Masonic?
Probably not, but I was thinking of a lot while I was researching too. I was like, damn, there's no way to cover like most of them.
Also, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite.
It's not Masonic.
I don't think
Yeah, it is.
No.
You know why? Because of the shadow people that sit on your chest when you're sleeping and you wake up and you can't move because you're paralyzed.
That's not Masonic either.
Well, I didn't know they had to be Masonic.
That's what Luke is talking about right now.
Oh, well, I don't know any Masonic ones.
Was I right, though? Fair and square?
That's
Yeah,
one
it's
of them. But I thought we would start with one that it's a little old-timey, but you still hear it from time to time, especially in crime movies. Have you ever heard of when someone receives the third degree?
Yeah.
Like he's getting a third degree.
What does that mean?
It's like you're getting grilled really hard with questions.
Yeah, like being given a rough time.
See, this is what's fun about this, at least for me, because you can't answer this question without offering more figures of speech, like getting grilled. Well, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah,
Right?
there's so many. Being extensively prodded with questioning.
Well, I said being given a rough time.
Well, what does that mean?
Rough, like a bumpy time. That's more of a, I guess it is symbolic, isn't it? Rough time.
Yeah, like dukkha, suffering, being a wobbly wheel, rough time.
Yeah.
We think completely in symbols. Receiving the third degree, it's getting grilled, basically.
Because grilling yourself will give you third degree burns, though.
See, there you go.
Okay, but there's an actual meaning to this, right?
Yes, there is. Because it's the final step toward becoming a master mason. And from what I understand, it's a recognizable motif outside of masonry as well, because for students of ceremonial magic, especially of the Western Hermetic tradition, the first 3 degrees are shared between different schools, even if those schools are not affiliated. It's sometimes referred to as the Blue Lodge or the Craft degrees, because these first 3 degrees are considered essentially like a boot camp for the mysteries, which tests the would-be student on purity of intent, clarity of vision, intellectual prowess, moral fortitude, and loyalty to the teachings. What ooky spooky stuff comes after that point depends on what group you've joined and the weird ideas they subscribe to specifically. But from what I understand, if you join a magic lodge or a magic school, those first 3 degrees are fairly universal. So when you use it commonly, it's basically being like scrutinized, criticized, interrogated, or yelled at all at once. But most properly, it's more like what a Jedi has to go through to get their lightsaber. Like in Star Wars, making your lightsaber is the conclusion of your first initiatory steps towards becoming a Jedi, and it's supposed to be like a little scary or dangerous. Like you could die. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so, if we're being entirely traditional, receiving the third degree would be intended to, in at least in all seriousness, threaten the life of the student. Should their vows of secrecy be failed to be followed? Should they betray the order, forget their teachings when they need to be loyal to them, etc.? So it's like, you better not mess up. Like, now that you're part of the group, now that you've been taught things, you have a responsibility. And if you don't follow it, it could be disastrous. You could die. We could kill you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the general idea.
Is this kind of like the mob? You can't just leave the mob.
Nope.
I think this would be a little bit like that. From what I understand, there's a great rendition of it in The Sopranos. When you join the Contra Nostra, they take some of your blood and they make you take a vow that if you ever betray your compatriots, like you'll burn in hell forever and your family, this and that and all the rest of it. It's kind of like that. So that would be like the third degree. It's like when you become a made man or when you become a master mason.
Except in the mob, they would actually, disappear you if you broke your vows.
Sleeping with the fishes.
What happens if you just leave? Like, you become a master mason and you just leave? Well,
I'm not a Freemason, so I don't really know. But from what I understand, if you commit a crime heinous enough at different points in history, like, because the Freemasons are not like this super hierarchical, they're all the lodges are connected. They're supposed to be like somewhat independent, like states,
Yeah, they're all on their own.
so, like, if you were convicted of a heinous crime, you would automatically be exiled from the order?
If you're a freak or do like evil, stupid shit, yeah, they're gonna kick you to the curb real quick.
Okay, so that's like the equivalent.
Well, okay, so this is just what I've heard. At different times and places, at different points in history, like if you messed up, you could forego going to normal public court and you go to like a secret Freemason court, which is like even more strict, and then they decide what your punishment is. And then if you really betray the order, they like do some crazy stuff and like hang you from a bridge. I don't know, that's just what I've heard from the conspiracy people.
So you would be significantly less likely to mess up that badly or do that kind of thing if you had to, go through something really rough to get there in the first place. Hence the being given a third degree.
Yeah, I think most are probably going to be pretty unlikely to commit violence like that. Like, you would have to be doing some pretty messed up stuff.
Like, you go through all of this stuff and like all of these crazy, like, hard initiations and spend all this time and do all this work. And like, yeah, you're probably less likely to just flail it.
There's also only one ever documented case where anyone has ever been murdered by other brothers who broke their vows of secrecy in like all the history of the Freemasons.
You could pay someone else to do your dirty work for you, so you don't get your hands dirty.
Like I said, I'm not one of them, but I can imagine, okay? Like, the point is not we will get you if you mess up. The point is that life is a scary, dangerous place with serious consequences. And if you continue to act like a douchebag, the universe will douche you out. And you need to know that. Like, memento mori, like, you will die someday. So, like, live according to principles. And if you don't, we're going to yell at you about it. In fact, we're going to yell at you about it ahead of time to tell you that it's serious. That's kind of what I imagine it being. But my research did reflect that the pageantry associated with the third degree, at least in Masonry, has to do with the founder of the order, Hiram Abiff, the master builder, who, in this pageant, he refuses entry to the temple to 3 ruffians who are attempting to rob him. And in his obstinance, he remains silent, so the ruffians kill him, but he ultimately protects entry to the temple.
That's just one version of the story. But yeah, he also, like, he gets killed because he refuses to tell the secrets of the temple is the more common one. But yeah, that one exists too, which you just said.
I mean, either way, it would be protecting the temple, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've heard sometimes a branch of acacia is used during this ceremony. It's supposed to represent the resurrection of Osiris. I'm like eyeing over it. Hecka, seeing she's going to nerd out at me.
Yeah, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn took that into their stuff as well.
So Osiris's spine is one of multiple pieces of Osiris that, after Set chopped him up, were scattered all over the place, and his spine specifically is said to have become lodged in an acacia tree, which grew around the spine. So the acacia tree is also, you can think of it like the tree of life. It's the tree of Hathor. It's a sacred tree.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, getting the third degree is when you get chastised so hard your ego leaves your body. Have you ever watched that live-action animatronic sitcom show, Dinosaurs?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Remember,
So good.
whenever Sinclair sees his boss, he's pretty much getting the third degree anytime he goes in that guy's office.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Sinclair, I am a great and powerful dinosaur, and you? Well, you're a puny nothing. Thank you, sir.
All I hear is,
I'm the baby. Gotta love me.
Not the mama.
Not the mama.
God, Pekka, you can't ever do that again.
Not the mama.
Stop it.
Dude, I think that guy's office is the Vault of the Adepts. And he's not a Triceratops. I looked it up, but that's what most of us would call him. Anyway.
I love that show, dude. Go watch that again, everybody.
Yeah.
Shows like that just don't exist anymore.
Nah.
I still feel like I'm in a fever dream just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's trippy.
They're like animatronic costumes and puppetry. Like the baby is a puppet, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it's voiced by the Elmo voice actor.
Oh, God.
Oh, that makes so much sense now.
It does.
So if that seems terribly esoteric, it might interest you to know a popular sibling to receiving the third degree exists in another popular turn of phrase. One is said to have been hoodwinked. And this refers to the blindfold placed over an initiate as they're led through parts of the temple during ritual. This is meant to symbolize the darkness one resides in as they begin their search for truth, and the reliance on others, the Brotherhood, to lead them at various points along the way.
Yeah, it's also found in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn as well.
I never really knew what hoodwinked meant.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Maury? What's hoodwink
Isn't
mean?
it like it's to be fooled or have the wool pulled over your eyes? It's another one.
But like, okay, so they don't lead you astray when you're blindfolded, or they do to make a point?
I saw the ritual before done in the Masons for an initiate, and they blindfold him and then they lead him through like these acts of a play, but he's blindfolded while it's happening.
Right, but do they like
So-
run him into like a chair and he stubs his toe or something? Because to me, that's what like being hoodwinked would be. Is like you've been fooled.
The straight answer is they hoodwink you into Christian morality. Like you think you're joining the Illuminati, and then they just like teach you to like not be a poo-poo head and like be a good person.
No way.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
That's what all magic is. It's like, oh, you want to learn the secrets? Why don't you just
But, I
stare at
mean-
your navel and think about your thoughts?
In regards to the ritual, if the initiate is blindfolded and he can't see the brothers acting it out, isn't it more likely for him to be fooled into thinking it's actually happening to him? You know,
So maybe
the play goes out like it's more what's the word it's more immersive that way. So he's being hoodwinked into being more immersed in the actual play.
Okay, I have a question. So does hoodwinked more so mean like going through something blindly, or does it specifically mean like being fooled?
It's like being fooled or tricked. That's what it's implying. But I mean, you could be tricked in a good way, like how like a 4D movie theater tricks you into feeling like you're actually there, or like VR does that.
When someone blindfolds you and then they like bring you into a room and they pull off like the blindfold and it's a surprise birthday party or something.
That would count.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it typically is the desired outcome. Like in a Masonic lodge, I'm pretty sure like you have to like put the one leg up and like stand in the coffin, and they're like the threat of death and all this. Like that's the hoodwink. Like they don't actually kill you, right? But if you're out in real life and you're like me and you go to San Francisco for the first time and you walk into one of those camera stores and you end up buying like one of the like zoom in lenses for like $600, like you got hoodwinked. Like you should have paid
Yeah.
$200 for that, not like $600 or whatever. Like so it's usually a bad thing if you get hoodwinked.
Yeah. When it's used colloquially, yeah.
So it's a bad thing unless you're a Mason.
It basically means, yeah, you got the wool pulled over your eyes. You got deceived. You got like led around the room. Like, isn't that another phrase? Led around the room. Like, I
That's
think
a good one.
Yeah.
it's probably related to this hoodwinked. Like, they take you through a ritual, but your eyes are blindfolded, and you don't know if it's real. Like, is the grand leader of the Illuminati standing there, like with Bill Clinton and George Soros, and like they're tickling your feet? Like, is that actually happening, or is it just like your friend Dale who brought you? Like, I don't know. Okay, I have another one. This is the one you people called out earlier. What does it mean when someone or something is on the level? Just colloquially. Is that how you say colloquially?
Colloquially.
I don't think any of us called out on the level, but that totally makes sense now that you say it, that would be Masonic.
Well, what does it mean, first of all, when somebody's on the level or something is on the level?
Honest.
So like for me, if I'm sure as with anyone else who has, built things, a level is a tool that you use to make sure that something is level. And like in modern times, we have these.
What does that mean in flat earth terms?
Okay, so it means that it's straight. So, but it's also like gravitationally straight. So like if you're building a house, you want your house to be level. So, to me, I automatically think of the tool, the level, which is, in olden times, they used to use a bowl of water. And if there's there's the same amount of space all across a bowl of water. In each place that you place the bowl of water, then it's level. But nowadays we just have these like tools that have like capsules of water in them with little lines on them. It's usually like dyed water, like bright yellow, and there's a little bubble in it, and that's how you can tell if it's on the level.
I don't know. When I hear it, it's like if someone's on the level, that means they're good. They're at the expected, I guess I'd say, level that they're supposed to be at. Like, I don't know. It just seems like, or maybe on the same page as someone else, or meeting expectations or excelling. That's kind of what it means to me.
So, like, if you have a piece of wood that you've laid down and one side of the wood is higher up than the other side of the wood, then it's not going to be level. So, if you have multiple people and you kind of envision them as being, you know, we're all one board in this communication, then being on the level would mean like you're seeing eye to eye, if you use that metaphor.
Whoa. I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves here. So you really do have to reason these things out the way you're doing. And if you do that, well, I found this rabbit hole went quite a bit deeper than I expected. So if you've seen the artwork of Freemasonry or of Freemasons, you often see them depicted with tools used in old school practical masonry, like the craft of masonry. So you'll have levels, squares, plumbs, compasses, trowels, etc. But instead,
I like Plumb's best.
I didn't even know what that was.
I'm plumb tired.
It'll come up. We'll talk about it. So like here in masonry, I don't think they're actually making like walls and houses. They take on a symbolic significance, all of these tools.
Yeah, like how Hecka was saying, leveling something is making it straight. So you can also, as a synonym, you could say, oh, that guy's straight. Straight is like a newer way to say that. Not sexuality speaking, like people will say, oh, that guy's straight. Like he's good. He's, on the level.
Yeah, it makes me kind of think of like shooting straight. Like he's shooting straight.
Exactly.
There's even a motto within Freemasonry that refers to these symbolic tools. It goes, enter on the level, act on the plumb, leave on the square. So, well, of course, I'm not a Mason. I could still use occult brain and a little bit of research to figure out what the heck this means. Now, as Hecka mentioned, when you're building something on the level, you use the level to make sure that both sides are equal height. So, like when placing a shelf. But it has a deeply esoteric meaning as well. In the lodge, all Masons meet on the level. This is regardless of worldly status. This embodies a core esoteric principle of universal brotherhood and moral balance. In terms of American history, the rejection of special titles like knighthood and the divine right of kings, like we'll never have a knight or a prince or whatever, these all owe to our deeply Masonic roots.
So like we're all equals, like every man and every woman is a star almost. It's similar to that idea.
It's like Knights of the Round Table.
Not Knights of the Wobbly table. Not Knights of the Justin Timberlake can just do whatever he wants table.
Exactly.
Because in theory, nobody's above the law.
Except for Hunter Biden.
We don't talk about that.
It's a theory that's not practiced very well, is it?
No, it's not. But if we pretend they do, we find all the memes converge when we consider Ma'at of ancient Egypt, the goddess of justice and truth, who is entrusted with having the heart of the deceased weighed on her scale against a feather, which helps Osiris judge their moral purity before permitting them entry into the field of reeds. The phrase, to level with someone, appears in English around the 17th century, and in Oxford Dictionary from the 1700s, and various others from that time period actually, cites a Masonic text to explain its use for equality and fraternal unity. So we got the receipts for this one.
I actually really like that saying that you said earlier.
We're not done talking about it because this is the next part of it.
I like it especially because I'm familiar with most of the tools that are mentioned.
I'm learning. So we don't usually hear the phrase act on a plum like out in the world, but we do sometimes hear, as Mari pointed out, plumb crazy or I plumb forgot. In each case, it implies a totality or fullness of whatever is being spoken. This makes some sense, but we'll need to use some occult brain to really plumb the depths of what this means. In the world of construction, a plumb is basically an anchor of sorts, which helps you figure out which way is really up and down, assuring walls are built vertically, which is essential for load-bearing structures. If a building is not built vertically, it will fall. What about a symbolic level? Well, on the level implies equality between people. If we extend this idea vertically, we would find the divine, God, or the highest principle up at the top. Likewise, to act on the plumb is to act in accord with the moral principles one assigns to God. So probably fairness, honesty, compassion, goodness, lawfulness, without judgment, with respect, etc. I guess if you think about it, the concept of needing to believe in a, quote, higher power before joining the Masons is partly because without it, the metaphors just break down.
I was actually just about to say what I see you've just written in the notes about upright.
Yeah, like we sort of use this figure of speech or really this metaphor when we say that somebody has an upright character or when somebody's on the straight and narrow.
So like you can kind of imagine like a primitive version of a plum would be like having a string dangling with a weight on the end of it. And the way that that string is going to be aligned is going to be straight. So that would be on the plum. You know, that line would be vertical, perfectly vertical.
So the practical reason for that is if you want to stack shit on top of other shit, it has to be vertical. Otherwise, it's going to like tilt, like slide off and fall over.
Or collapse.
Yeah. So if you want to have a really, really high tower where you could look down at other people and get around your metaphors, you have to first abide by the metaphors.
In terms of Egyptian mythology and deities that are sacred to this show, Thoth's wife, Seshat, is sometimes thought to be depicted with a plum as her crown. A lot of people think it's a marijuana leaf. Honestly, it could be either. But she was thought to preside over the proper measurement and placement of buildings, making her a pretty early goddess of masonry. She's actually invoked when you're laying the ground level.
Seems kind of important. I had a thought, okay, if this chick really does have a weed leaf on her head, what if it's like a hemp leaf? Because, you know, a plum is basically just like a pendulum or an anchor, right? You hang it from a string.
Right. And when we were talking about this as Luke was writing, he kind of pointed out like, well, hemp is used in making rope. And like, obviously you would have to use rope to make an ancient plum. So there would be hemp involved anyways.
Yeah, Google it. It looks
Google
like she sat.
Now, Seshat.
Yeah, we know, but
She sat.
if you type that on Google, she'll pop right up. It looks like she has a weed leaf and a titty on her head, but it's actually probably a plum.
Man, they had style back then.
She also was the goddess of libraries, and she would record the pharaoh's speeches. So she's pretty cool.
She is sometimes said to be like a more primitive Thoth. So like Thoth before Thoth, if that makes sense. Just the receptive before the active, the feminine receptive before the active.
Well, you know, masonry really is occult. You have to make the building stand up, you know? Like, how? Like, you can't just explain that to anyone. They're like, what are you talking about? Like,
So plumb is like being level, but on the vertical position.
yeah, so like,
Like upright.
we've talked about on the show where I've heard if you're a Mason, you don't have to believe in the Bible. You don't have to believe in the Quran or the Torah or whatever. You have to abide by the morality in those sacred books while you are doing business.
You have to be a stand-up kind of guy.
Yes. You
More
can't-
like universal principles.
Get it? Stand up.
You,
Yeah.
you can't screw people over. You have to be on the level. You have to be act on the plumb. Was it this next one is the one you people called out?
I called this one out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say, my favorite thing about plumb is that the tool you use has a little pendulum thing at the bottom. It's called a plumb bob.
Oh.
I just think it's a funny name.
It's a cute name.
Gotta love Bob.
I know. It's like, if my name was Bob, I would want that to be my nickname.
Praise Bob.
What if your name was Dick?
That's fine.
Well, that's not what we're talking about. But cool. Moving on.
The next one is the one that I called out.
The culmination of the Masonic phrase, leave on the square, really ties the whole thing together. But the implication with fairness actually predates Freemasonry proper. The Oxford English Dictionary cites a 1577 use of square in the Holinshed's Chronicles, meaning just or upright, as in to deal square with one. Likewise, it's been hip to be a square for quite some time, and it's always meant exactly that. So when you say something or someone is fair and square, it means that the affairs were carried out according to law or fairness without cheating, basically.
Yeah, but if someone says don't be a square, like they're teasing you for being a square in the old like 60s era slang, they're like enticing you to be a lying, stealing cheater. That's what the devil says. The devil says don't be a square.
It's kind of interesting because the square kind of marries also the two together, the level and the plumb, into one.
Yes.
Yes. So that's why you leave on it. So you depart from the interaction with your brother being able to trust you and you can trust them, that everyone will act in accord with the agreements made, which both parties decided themselves in accordance with good principles, so everyone can sleep at night. This also really does a lot to explain why Mithras is so prevalent in both ancient Rome and the United States of America. I think if you look at our statues and our symbolic DNA, Mithras typically depicted slaying a a bull, an ancient symbol of the religious priesthood, is most succinctly described as a deity of friendship, contract, and justice. And I don't know if the universe will allow me to point this out, but I can't really think of a better time to do it. So let's say you get into conspiracy theories because you have this innate feeling that it's wrong to use occult symbolism and hidden religious power to dominate the masses and subterfuge the equality and fairness of the law. Let's say you choose Mithras as your evidence that the founding fathers and folks behind the 1893 World's Fair are secretly up to some super bad stuff. Well, if that's true, it's not Mithras's fault. It's not. You know what I mean? Like, if you go on a hunt to slay the bull of the unfair priestly or monarchical domination, you know what? You've got a little bit of Mithras in yourself, too. I'm not telling you what to think. I just want to give you something to think about.
It's good stuff.
Like, if you're all mad about occult America because everything in the occult is evil, like, this is one of those examples where I just think you're wrong. Like, Mithras is actually the anti-conspiracy deity. He would be the one supporting you in your quest to, like, dethrone the unfair, unelected, tyrannical rulers. Yeah.
Oh, this is very interesting, too, because if you think about it, like, people view Masonry as kind of like a secret society, and they give each other leg ups behind the scenes.
Oh, they definitely do that.
Well,
That's
I know
good.
they do, but like if you think about when this all started, I took art history and we learned about like the mercantile era of Italy and Rome. And part of that was like, okay, if you're trying to build like a big building or commission a sculpture or do any of this other stuff, there were people that would just take your money and then like leave town.
Yeah.
Or they would do a poor job, cut corners. And so if you really think about it, like the Masons that made this agreement between each other, this pact that they had, they were essentially like what we would call now a workers union. So if you think about it, they were basically unionizing against like the rich class and like the thieves and stuff that would try to swindle people to actually like get the right way. So I don't know, like having the context of how it was back in the olden times, it really changed my perspective on Masonry in the modern age. Like it's a little bit antiquated today, but I mean, it makes sense why they have their associations, and they deal squarely with each other and with like outsiders as well, which you have to have respect. And Luke, like when you're, Mithras and like what that cult is all about, like that's exactly the vibe that I get from that is like, you should do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's exactly like biblical golden rule.
Primordial morality. Definitely.
So I was just going to go back to the saying fair and square and what we were talking about specifically about the plumb and the level and the square checking the plumb and level. So this would be like if someone's actions don't match up with their words. Like if your plumb is off, but your level is okay, or your level is off, but your plumb is okay, it's not going to be square. I think it's something that we see still in modern language where we say like, well, how do you square that? Or it's not square to me. I can't square that.
Like you can't make it even or make sense, or there's something uneven about what you're looking at.
If someone is like saying like, I'm going to be on the level with you, but then something is off, then it wouldn't be square, right? So we'd be like,
or
well,
when things don't add up, right?
Yeah, like I can't square what he's saying because this doesn't match that. That would essentially be your plumb and your level being off.
And what do they say? Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could imagine, like back in the day, you're building a castle or a cathedral. You can't really, like, quote, cut corners or mess up or make mistakes because those mistakes, as you're telling us, they basically affect everyone else's work. And then it, like, lasts forever, right? And, like, this is supposed to be a place where people go to worship God, and it's supposed to be this metaphor for the higher powers. And, like, you really can't afford to be, quote, cutting corners or messing up. And then, like, it makes sense what you're saying about the union because have you ever seen those like Twitter videos where like there's some contractor who's like angry as hell and he's like smashing all of his work with a sledgehammer because supposedly like the person like didn't pay them or wouldn't pay them, and it's always because it's like, well, you didn't do it in time or you messed up this one detail, so I'm not gonna pay you. It's like, this is some ancient stuff, right? Like like what do you mean you're not gonna pay me? Like I just did all this. Like, it's done. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
as someone who has spent a lot of time being a contractor making custom pieces, like if someone didn't pay me, which has happened before, I just am like, well, you don't get it. And they get really upset if they don't get it.
Yeah, but if you install it attached to someone's house, you kind of have to destroy it at that point,
and
sadly.
That's why they do it. Because like, if you make some leather work for them, you can just keep the leather work. But if you built a house for them, I'm probably going to smash it.
the phrase, this is why we can't have nice things.
Because Jimmy ain't square.
It's because we didn't learn all these phrases and use them. And if you thought that that's all we could come up for terms with Masonic influence, you were wrong.
Oh, there's more?
There's more. I got at least this one more. So while it is more of a pleasantry now than a bona fide voting ceremony, or so I've heard, there was once a practice of voting with a variation of white or black balls to decide if a candidate would be let into the lodge as an apprentice. Voting is done in secret and the results are tallied afterwards. If there were too many black balls in the bag after voting, that person would be refused entry. So from what I understand, it's still part of the ceremony, but you don't really ever get blackballed during it. Like, that's kind of figured out ahead of time. But nonetheless, the phrase still exists as a well-used part of our vocabulary today. If you get blackballed, there's multiple organizations now or groups that like won't touch you or go near you.
So they actually used like a binary system of voting. But I think that ties into stuff later on too, doesn't it?
Well, as we were researching, I found another popular figure of speech that's related to blackballed, and that's spilling the beans. Because back in the Pythagorean cult days, they wouldn't vote with balls, they'd vote with white or black beans. And so if you like accidentally spilled the bag of beans, like this secret vote was like let out and like everyone saw the result. And so you don't want to spill the beans and you don't want to get blackballed. But they're
related.
They're related to voting. How much is democracy related to occultism? It's an experiment that the devil just thought up like yesterday. Goddamn civil rights. Next thing you know, we'll be giving robots civil rights.
We'll become one with the robots. You just wait and see.
AI are people too.
Yes.
Yeah, technically speaking, if the Masons really are in control, then even the AI is not above the law, so there.
Mm-hmm.
He has to get a spanking and touch the butt just like everyone else.
Are there any more Masonic sayings that we use today?
There probably are, but I wanted to include some from the native tradition as well.
So this isn't Masonic, but it's still a cult.
Yes, and we haven't even gotten to the ones that have to do with the Bible.
Awesome.
So from the Iroquois, the natives of the American Northeast, we get the phrase, "Bury the hatchet," a phrase which still means to willingly cease conflict.
Oh, I know this one. There's actually a buried hatchet in my hometown. So I don't think it's just from the Northeast. Or maybe it was adopted in the Northwest as well, because, yeah, that's a tradition on this side too.
Well, if you think about what it means, there's a reason why the ritual would spread. And it predates the contact with the white man. The Iroquois, who were known to do this ceremony, they literally buried their hatchets and other weapons used for war ritually when two or more tribes would agree to stop fighting. According to legend, to signify the end of intertribal wars and the establishment of the Iroquois Confederacy, the leaders of a bunch of different tribes buried their weapons under the roots of the Great White Pine Tree, known as the Great Tree of Peace. It has an underground river, and it's supposed to symbolically wash away the weapons so they could never be retrieved. Kind of like this sacred ritual of flushing the drugs down the toilet when the police are at the front door.
Very sacred ritual.
There's a few others from the native tradition, like powwow.
Yeah, and in Duncan, BC, there's a landmark where an actual hatchet was buried with this kind of symbolism for the indigenous people of the area. So powwow being like a kind of gathering.
Yeah, powwow is like when you get together to talk something out. Like, let's have a powwow. There's usually a sense of like discord lingering or a disagreement or a miscommunication. And so a powwow is like when all parties come together and pass the peace pipe, you could say.
Hell yeah.
Would this be considered cultural appropriation, though?
Yes, that's why we can't talk about it.
Okay, that makes sense.
We could turn off the recording, have a powwow, and talk about it.
All right, let's do it.
See, I always thought that powwows were celebrations, so now I'm just confused.
I guess we'll never find out.
I'm just a dumb white girl, forgive me.
Okay, one more for the free side of the show. And it's kind of obscure, but you still hear it sometimes. Have you ever been pulled out of your vehicle or remote area and handcuffed for having a strange object in the backseat until you can, like stumble your way through an explanation that's like just a toy lightsaber, and then the cranky officer, after a long and harrowing pause, suddenly like decides to let you go with a warning despite 10 or 12 items on your SUV being dramatically out of code or entirely broken?
Not specifically.
That's highly civic.
Well, if you have, you might say you escaped by the skin of your teeth.
Ah, that's a good one.
I hear that one a lot.
As strange as this turn of phrase sounds, it has endured since biblical times, finding popular use in English after the publication of the King James Bible in 1611, where it is explicitly stated in the tale of Job. In Job 19:20, there it says,
"My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth."
as it turns out, this has always sounded a bit strange to scholars, as it does to any of us. Like, what is exactly meant by this phrase? Now, some speculate that perhaps it was meant that Job had lost his teeth. And so this was some figure of speech from back then, which had been lost to time and translation. The original Hebrew term is originate, where or means skin and shine means of my teeth.
So it actually does mean skin of my teeth if you translate it.
Yeah, that's how, it's pretty close to just that, skin of my teeth. And so...
And also here by the hair of your chin, too. Cutting it close.
Yeah.
See, that one makes more sense to me, though, because that's like a close call or like a close shave, just skimmed by. But like skin of my teeth makes less sense.
Definitely.
And then just using the occult brain for a minute, it seemed worth mentioning that the Hebrew letter itself, shin, in isolation, it means tooth. And then in the tarot, that's associated with the judgment card.
Ah.
Oh, wow.
Good catch.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it means like instead of losing your teeth, it like skims the skin of your teeth, like your gums.
Yeah, that's what I always kind of imagined.
Like my gums are bleeding, but I still have my teeth.
Right.
Escaped by the skin of my teeth.
Well, yeah, I escape only with my gums. Like, I don't even have teeth anymore.
That would actually imply like a loss, though. So I don't know. Maybe it could probably be used both ways, maybe, depending on whether you lost or not. Job definitely did lose a lot.
But I always view, think the skin of your teeth, like the skin on top of your tooth, right? It's extremely thin. So I'm saying it's like a hairline of difference between, failing and succeeding. So perhaps it's like, oh, well, it's like a thin margin, right?
Like with Job, he like loses everything but his life.
But he gets it back. So teeth, usually, unless you're a kid, right? You don't get them back. So like Job, he eventually got his wife back and he had some kids. He got a sheep in his house. Do you think God gave him dentures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he must have lost his teeth, right? That would make sense for the tale of Job.
Yeah, he lost everything but his wife.
Yeah.
So God made sure to punish him, or the devil. That's a bad joke. I'm married. It's okay. I could say it.
But if you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, where we continue to discuss actual physical occult anatomy with figures of speech from the Bible, actually, there's more than one, along with a litany of other phrases you thought you weren't using, and what they actually might have meant back in the day that you might want to know about if you're a total nerd just like us, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the second half of this episode, you'll get the second half of every single one of our episodes, which goes all the way back before 2020. It'll take you forever to get all the way through listening to those episodes. And in that time, you might even get your 5x5 high quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art. I just got the envelopes from Amazon. I'm living in like 3 places right now, but I will send you a 5x5 high quality vinyl sticker. If you haven't got it yet, I promise it's coming. But you will instantaneously also get the secret keys to our Discord server, where you can hang out with us and see how badly life is punching us in the gooch. Because that's what it's doing all the time. But we're not going to stop. Oh, no.
Only to rant about Egypt. I only stopped to rant about Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt train never stops. And you can come and play Scrabble.
I am forcing us to stop doing things by like 10 p.m. to play Scrabble because I can't take it.
I can't play because I don't words right.
We can also play Monopoly, but Mari always cheats.
I don't play we haven't played Monopoly. Come on.
She's always taking hundos in her pocket.
That's not true. You've never played Monopoly before.
Until then, thank you, everybody. Eat carrots and shoot lasers.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew pew.
Pew, pew, pew.